You got to be bigger than life. When Phil Collins, I mean, some of the front row tickets were selling for $8,000.
Yeah.
You got to be bigger than life. You got to accept it. And the only way to do that is to have confidence in what you're doing.
Yeah.
If you're not sure of what you're doing, or that what you're bringing to the party is not worth it, then you kind of stay in there. But when you know that what you're doing has impact, it only gives you more incentive to pour your heart out in all aspects of your performance,
Mm-hmm.
including the movement,
Yeah.
and all that gets validated. I've played with guys that were kind of shy and timid at first, but once they allowed themselves to have a good time at it, yeah, who's going to stop them? And it doesn't matter if you look silly. We all look silly, really, but we're having fun,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that's the point of it. I mean, nobody's going to hear the horns to see four professional dancers.
Mm-hmm.
We're just we're just having a great time.
Yeah. Well, you're having a party, man.
And so that's one of the things that you started in the middle of my career, but this is like takes root in the beginning of my
Mm-hmm.
career. Is I had a discussion with a contemporary, contemporary, a guy who's my age, yeah, about the music business, a trumpet player, and we were discussing the differences in the level of it as opposed to him, and he said something that I've been kind of using this idea more when I speak to students and stuff. He said that he spent all his career trying to fit in, and he noticed that I was trying to stand out.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, and I didn't do it because of ego. I did it because this is the way I play, you know. And so I tell people the era of the professional second and third trumpet player is gone. The big bands are sort of gone. I mean, you could be a good second, third, fourth trumpet player, but in reality, in today's world, they're all lead players.
Mm-hmm.
They just learn how to be good sidemen. But at a certain point, in order to build some sort of career, you have to turn heads when given the opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
And that could be what saves you, or creates a career for you. It's not always about blending in. Yeah, you're supposed to blend sound and personality and all this kind of stuff. But when the time calls for you to stand out, do it. Don't be shy about it. And the only way you could do it is to have confidence in what you have to offer. You have to know what it is that you do. Like you said, being true to yourself. You have to know yourself in order to do it successfully. And gosh, I fell flat on my face many times when I had the opportunity, but it didn't matter. I always knew that it wasn't going to be the end of the world for me. I've had a lot of really tough times. Had chop problems. That was humiliating, and I learned that the trumpet doesn't define me. I had to distance myself from the trumpet and me as a person first, and I happen to play trumpet, and I recovered from my problems. I've been through some emotional problems. My wife got sick. I was married for 29 years, and my wife got cancer. She was sick for 2 years, and then she passed away. And that was the darkest time of my life.
Yeah.
I lost all motivation to practice. I was just warming up a little bit to go to the gig, and that's it. And it took me a while to get back on track,
Mm-hmm.
and the last Phil Collins tour actually was a lifesaver because it's exactly what I needed to come to terms with my loss
Mm-hmm.
and get back into playing and focusing on playing well.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so you go through ups and downs, but I think your survival skills have to come into play, um, and know that you're going to recover from anything, even a terrible concert. One of the biggest fears people have is messing up on a concert or recital or whatever. And once they learn that it's not the end of the world, they could do it with more confidence, and they lose that fear, because what's the worst that can happen? You know, maybe you'll lose a job or something like that. But I've always had this sour grapes attitude about things I lose. You know, you know the story about the fox trying to leaping up and down, trying to grab a grape from a vine that was over his head. And he finally gave up. And as he walked away, he said, the grapes are probably sour.
Okay.
So sour grapes for everything that I don't get, it's my way of justifying it wasn't for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, if you get rejection or you break up with your sweetheart or something, and just stop dwelling on it, just say sour grapes. She wasn't for me. The job, it wasn't for me, because if it was, you wouldn't have lost it.
Yeah.
And it's sour grapes, because if you lost the job, you probably wouldn't have been happy with it, or you put too much weight on it, or uh, you're allowing that job to validate you or to define you too much.
Yeah. Well, that's powerful, man. I mean, that attitude is so powerful, and to a degree. I mean, I have to say sometimes it's the and I'm not saying this is an insult. With age comes wisdom, and I'm not a spring chicken either. So, but as I look back to like my 20-year-old self, I did some stupid shit, and it was mostly because I didn't understand the ramifications.
Because
And
you weren't Amish yet.
yeah, I went Amish yet. That's right. So when I can look back now and go, hey, I was sweating all of this stuff that, in the grand scheme of things, really didn't mean anything. So I've gone, I have, like I definitely have my share of hardships, and everything that's come before this has just helped me to be a better version of who I am today.